For years, the foldable iPhone has been the Apple rumor that never quite arrived. Back in 2018, reports from major outlets and trusted supply chain watchers insisted Apple would ship a folding iPhone by 2020. Then that prediction slipped to 2021, 2022, 2024, 2025. And now the loudest and most detailed leaks point to one date, 2026. And yes, this time, the story comes with far more specifics than ever before. Clearer dimensions, repeated hinge claims, display sizes, camera decisions, and even a likely name. Still, it's Apple. Timelines can change, and nearly ready often means not ready yet. So here's the most up-to-date leak-based picture of what Apple's first foldable iPhone could be. What it might be called, when it could launch, how it could look, how much it may cost, and the biggest compromises Apple may make to get a foldable iPhone out the door. Let's dive into the iPhone Ultra Foldable leaks. First, the big headline. Apple's foldable iPhone is now widely expected to launch in September 2026, likely alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and iPhone 18 Pro Max. Multiple reports suggest it won't debut with the standard iPhone 18 model, which is rumored to be delayed until 2027. That said, even if Apple announces it in September, early supply could be limited. Some sources believe the device might not ship until later in the year, potentially around December, meaning the launch window could look like announce in September, ship in late fall or early winter. Now the next big question, what will Apple call it? Most fans casually call it the iPhone Fold because it's simple and obvious. But leaks in 2026 are increasingly pointing to something else, iPhone Ultra. The Ultra naming makes sense strategically. Apple has already trained the market to associate Ultra with premium, no-compromise hardware like Apple Watch Ultra and the M-series Ultra chips. A foldable iPhone won't be a mainstream product at first. It will likely be Apple's most expensive iPhone ever, so branding it as Ultra instantly signals that it sits above Pro and Pro Max. According to claims from Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, and additional chatter from leakers like Digital Chat Station, Apple may push the iPhone Ultra name as part of a broader Ultra tier across the product lineup. So if you're searching for the most SEO-friendly, likely-to-stick name right, now it's this, iPhone Ultra Foldable. Now let's talk about the design, because this is where the iPhone meets iPad story really begins. Leaks suggest Apple is going with a book-style fold, not a flip-style clamshell. Think Galaxy Z Fold rather than a Galaxy Z Flip. When closed, it behaves like a normal smartphone with an outer display. When opened, it becomes a small tablet, roughly iPad mini territory, built for reading, multitasking, and productivity. The rumored internal display size is 7.7 to 7.8 inches, with a 4.3 aspect ratio. That 4.3 ratio is important. It's the same general direction Apple prefers for iPads, and it's far more productivity-friendly than tall, narrow, foldable screens that feel awkward for documents and split-screen work. On the outside, leaks point to an outer display around 5.3 to 5.5 inches. That suggests Apple wants the closed experience to remain genuinely usable with one hand, more phone-first, than some foldables that feel too narrow or too tall when shut. And then there's the hinge, the single hardest part of making. A foldable feel like Apple. The latest rumors emphasize advanced hinge engineering designed to minimize screen creasing. This is a major obsession in the foldable market, because the crease is the first thing most people notice and the first thing they criticize. Apple's reputation for fit, finish, and polish means the company can't afford a good enough crease. If Apple is truly targeting a 2026 release, the hinge could be the reason it took this long. But even with a premium hinge, a foldable design forces compromises. And the leaks are very clear. iPhone Ultra doesn't mean no trade-offs. It means most premium foldable Apple can make, within physics. Here are the biggest rumored compromises. First, Face ID may be removed, because foldables must be extremely thin, especially around hinge tolerances and internal components. Apple may not have the space for the full Face ID sensor array, especially when the device needs to function both folded and unfolded. Instead, Apple is expected to use Touch ID built into the side power button, similar to iPad Air. This is a huge change, and it would be one of the most noticeable first foldable generation decisions Apple could make. It's also a very Apple-like choice. If Face ID can't meet Apple's standards in this form factor, Apple would rather ship a reliable Touch ID than a compromised Face ID. Second, the camera system may lose the telephoto lens. Leaks suggest the foldable iPhone Ultra could feature dual 48-megapixel cameras, but skip the telephoto camera due to internal space constraints. That would be a painful omission at a price approaching $2,000, especially when Pro iPhones sell heavily on zoom performance. So the rumored setup becomes less about being the ultimate camera iPhone and more about being the ultimate big screen iPhone that still takes flagship-level photos, just without true optical zoom. Third, the build may not be a unibody-style construction. Dummy unit leaks indicate the foldable will require a more segmented design due to the hinge mechanism. That's normal for foldables, but unusual for Apple, which often prefers seamless hardware lines and minimal breaks in material flow. Fourth, wireless charging and MagSafe could become complicated. If the foldable iPhone Ultra does not use a traditional glass back, or if internal layout and hinge materials interfere with charging coils, Apple could face limitations with MagSafe or standard wireless charging performance. Nothing is fully confirmed here, but it's a widely discussed concern because foldables don't always play nicely with the exact back panel architecture wireless charging expects. Now, despite those compromises, this device is still expected to be brutally powerful. Leaks point toward an A20 series chip, meaning Apple will likely position the foldable iPhone Ultra as a top-tier performance product, capable of handling multitasking, high-end gaming, video editing workflows, and productivity features designed for the large inner display. Software is another key part of this story. Even though the inside screen and 4:3 ratio screen mini iPad, the foldable is expected to run iOS, not iPadOS, but it won't be standard iOS. It will likely be a customized version of iOS with foldable-specific features. Better split-screen behavior, improved app scaling, smarter continuity between outer and inner displays, and productivity enhancements that make the opened screen feel like it has a real purpose. In other words, Apple may try to give you iPad-like productivity while keeping the device anchored to the iPhone ecosystem, app expectations, and software identity. Now let's talk about the price, because the iPhone Ultra name only works if Apple makes it an ultra-premium category. The most repeated leak-based pricing expectations put the base model around $1,999 for 256 GB. Higher tiers could reach $2,399 for 1 TB. That would make it not just the most expensive iPhone, but a product that competes with an iPhone plus iPad combo in price, while trying to replace both for a certain kind of buyer: executives, creators, travelers, and productivity-focused users who want a single device that becomes a phone and a tablet on demand.